Okay, finally, we're live. Oh my god, I was waiting for YouTube to allow me to click the button, and it took quite a bit. But hello, chat. Welcome to the show. Hopefully, you guys had a really awful day so that I may entertain you, because this is why you're here. We're here to laugh and have fun and talk about stuff. Mizzy from the Kingdom United apparently got sentenced. Slap on the wrist. 18 months in well, it's not prison, it's juvie. 18 months in juvie. I have seen people get far more for racism on the keyboard. We need to actually create this term. It's a very spectacular term, right? Like, from the comfort of your own bedroom, you can cause racismus that is a criminal offense. Like, you are a danger to the public, okay? You sitting in your underwear, slouched over a hot computer, and doing the clickety-clack. In some nations around the world, that is a grave danger. And it is considered such a grave danger that it is worse than pedophilia. And I can make the argument for that, right? Like, again, you can go to prison, but when you come out of prison, you're still unhireable. You still do not have a social media account. Like, your online presence is gone forever in some cases, right? Like, everyone knows you are that racist guy. You made the meme, you made the joke. You caused the government to shake in fear from your presence. And due to that, you can't use the computer. Now, if you can't use the computer, how are you going to do online banking? How are you going to get a job? How are you going to do... It's very difficult in a first world country. Meanwhile, if you're arrested for pedophilia, you serve your time, you go to prison, but when you come out, you are a rehabilitated individual. A person that can reintegrate themselves into society. This is the morals that I notice in some countries around the world, or at least the type of morality that is encouraged, right? Like, it's correct to think this way. A person that does racism on the keyboard is the worst type of human being imaginable. No apology, no punishment is good enough. He has conducted racismus on the keyboard. Of course, it goes hand in hand with transmophobismus on the keyboard, anti-Semitismus on the keyboard. Suffice to say, the keyboard is a deadly weapon. Especially in countries that are more progressive-oriented, more forward-thinking, more enlightened, more in tune with the science. If you go in Eastern Europe, no. It's like, dude, like, are you crazy? Because I see constantly, I see especially the British police tweeting out. You know, like, racism on the keyboard can only be stopped by the repressive arm of the state on the keyboard. And they're like, if we catch you say racismus, we will take this very seriously. And you have, like, people knocking at British people's doors. It's like, we heard you said rap limericks. How dare you? Count Dankula. Like, Count Dankula got in trouble, right? He had to spend, like a lot of people say, oh, he had to pay $1,000 fine. Sorry, £1,000, I think it was a fine. Yeah, that's probably not even the punishment. The punishment is spending years in court, being afraid that you may end up in prison. That was the actual punishment. Having your name plastered on every single newspaper article, claiming that you're the Nazi pugman bad man, Nazi pugman, Nazi not. He could have gone to prison. So yeah, like, that's the modern way of thinking, and the modern way of thinking creates people like BZ, which again, as I pointed out on my main video, he was an individual which went to Morgan Pierce. Morgan Pierce was like, why did you do this? Don't you have empathy for other people? And he wasn't very remorseful. But when he was, well, you're a little bit anti-Semitic. You did this to a Jewish person. He was like, nope. Look, I draw the line at racism on the keyboard. I am not racist. So it shows that he does have, like, morality and standards. It's just the new age of morality and standard. The thing that is being promoted in schools right now. He is part of the anti-racismus. And anti-racismus decries that as long as you're not racist on the keyboard, other things are not as important. Burglary, mugging, trespassing, violating someone's property, they're bad, but not as bad as racism on the keyboard. The modern day sword of Damocles is saying the wrong thing and having the journalist investigate every aspect of your life. Yeah, like, this is what we're going to be talking about today in this stream. My assessment with Mizzy, and it's not just him, but it's a lot of real life streamers that commit crimes on live streams in order to get super chats from people who are shocked or are laughing at it, is due to the fact that there is no more edgy entertainment. There is a craving demand, like people genuinely crave. The market wants assholes. The market demands assholes, and unfortunately, you can't get assholes. I noticed that in Mortal Kombat, a game that's meant for a mature audience, where you can have Sindel perform fatality on her daughter, or you can have Kitana perform fatality on her mother, right? And the game is very gory, a lot of blood, like something that your grandmother would not appreciate if she sees you playing, right? Like, that's the game we're talking about. But they decided to add Omni-Man as DLC. Yeah, Omni-Man, invincible, popular character, right? And Omni-Man says to Sindel, I will make pets of your daughters. Oh my god, people on Twitter lost their shit. People on Twitter lost their shit. And I want to point out how people on Twitter, they lose their shit at fiction, but they keep their shit when it comes to people like Mizzy. Funny, interesting observation that the modern day morality, the modern day moral police, cares more about fictional characters than they care about real people. The way the framing was, they treat fictional character like real people, and they treat real people like fictional characters. And I noticed this to be true when I was absolutely disgusted what they did to that Star Wars girl, to Anna. I can't say that Anna is a friend of mine because, like, we do not talk on a daily basis. But I am in good acquaintance, I am in good graces with her, vice versa. We did a couple of live streams together. She's a very nice and wholesome person, despite the fact that she's a woman from California. Not everyone can be perfect, but she basically showed the picture of Miss Marvel and then showed the picture of the actress on how she dresses. And she was pointing out, like, they did this actress wrong. You have a very beautiful, sexy actress, and you decide to dress her up as if she's going to church. Like, the costume and the makeup team did their utmost best to hide all of her femininity, right? And people on Twitter freaked out. It's like, oh, but she's 17 in the comics. Oh my god, you're a pedophile. Oh, you're lusting over this woman. And Anna was just pointing out, no, there is a thing called aesthetics. Like, I can enjoy a statue made by Michelangelo. Huh? He's the sculptor, right? Or he's the painter. I forgot which one. Leonardo is the sculptor. I can enjoy an ancient Greek statue of a man, like the Thinker, which has, like, beautiful body and it's got, like, bulging muscles and stuff, without lusting over him, right? Because I'm straight. But if I look at the statue of a morbidly obese gentleman with pimples, and then another statue of human perfection, aesthetically speaking, I enjoy watching the perfect statue rather than watching the normalization, right? The realistic one. It's not about, like, oh my god, I can't help myself. I can't help myself. No, the very fact, the way these people on Twitter think is that if you actually see a beautiful woman, you're like an animal. You start humping the monitor. And if you think like that, if that is the level of projection, I am terrified, because there are such things as high schools in the real world. Like, I happen to pass next to one whenever I go to the grocery store, and when I come back, I pass next to a high school. And there are underage girls that are going home or going to the high school on the street wearing cleavage and revealing clothing, revealing attire as they're going to high school. There's this fashion where you have, like, the belly button. Like, there are ladies at the age of 16, some probably even younger, with belly buttons exposed. And they're walking on the street, with some of them have breasts, right? Should I call the parents? Should I call the cops? Should I be horrified? But that's what I see in the real world, right? And when I look at Marvel, I see women as if they're going to church. And it causes a little bit of an immersion breaking because I'm like, well, yeah, but like an actual person, like a real woman, wouldn't dress like that. That sounds bad. It's Romania. I don't know if it sounds good or bad. I'm telling you what exists in reality. Alright? Like, I'm telling you what I see when I go on the street. Personally, I don't cast moral judgment. I just keep walking. At this point, I'm just used to it. Like, it's called fashion. This is how it looks like this year. Next year, it's going to look differently. Like, there was the fashion time when I was in high school. It was with the miniskirt. Like a very short, revealing dress that went way over the knees. There was the fashion with the skinny jeans. This is how women dress, right? They dress provocatively. And in my country, they dress provocatively in high school. Now, I tend to think that in California, yeah, maybe it's a very Christian state that has something akin to Christian Sharia, where all the women have dress standards and you have people that are measuring the miniskirts. I don't know. It is what it is. Parents being irresponsible. You know, I would understand if one parent is being irresponsible, but it's literally like all the parents. No, unironically, I guess I could just walk on the street and take a recording on my way to home, and you can see how women actually dress. And the thing is, like, I'm not shocked because that's how women dressed when I was in high school. But like, okay, so what? So what? Okay, they dress provocatively. So what? Just keep walking. Just keep walking. Like, are you 5? Like, what? You can't help or something? Just. And the thing is, you know, I will also say this. When I was in high school, I remember like looking at elderly women, and I was like, my God, how will I ever be attracted to those? Right? I was looking at women that were aged 25, 28, or when I saw them in movies, I was like, how will I ever be attracted to those? Because I was looking at my classmates and I was like, oh, well. But then I grew up, and I remember sitting at a restaurant at a table, and behind me there were some high school girls. And at the time I think I was like 20 or so, and they may have been like anywhere between 16 to 18, like they were in high school. But they started talking and they were like, oh my God, like, have you been to the party? Oh, and have you seen Lucille? Oh, did you notice that she brought a brand new phone and she didn't tell me about it? Oh my gosh, she's such a cow. And within that moment, I realized that if you forced me to interact with those people, I would benefit from Canadian healthcare. Like, I would go to Canada and I would request it. It would have been a very difficult moment, right? So, my point is that it seems really weird when every single video game, when every single TV show, when every single movie is now casting women that are aged at least 35, and people on Twitter believe that everything younger than 35 makes you a pedophile. They literally accused Anna, that Star Wars girl, of that. Because she said, well, the actress has cleavage, why can't you show cleavage? And they believe that movies and TV shows like X-Men that we grew up with, right? You had X-Men, you had Xena, you had Buffy, you had American Pie. Like all of these things are unnatural and they are wrong. Meanwhile, things like Cooties, Drag Kids Story Hour, OnlyFans with girls that you look at them and you're like, well, I hope it's okay. Those are fine. Those are fine, right? All of that is fine. It's just they draw the line at fiction. Interesting. Hi V, I hope you had a good day. Who got roasted? I will tell you. Be careful, V. Be careful of what? Like, again, we're not talking about anything sexual. Alright? Like, we're not talking about anything... like, I'm not advocating for porn or anything like that. I'm just saying, when it comes to aesthetics, they freak out over the feminine form. And when you have someone like that Star Wars girl saying that Miss Marvel looks like she's dressed to church and her actress is a lot more prettier, they call her a pedophile. Like, I'm sorry, I'm taking issue with that. The actress is 21, alright? And I would say that even if the actress was 17, you have Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones, you have Daenerys in Game of Thrones. You had so many other examples throughout the history of Hollywood I don't think it's a problem if a woman in a TV show or in a Hollywood movie dresses the same way that they dress in Bollywood or in China or in South Korea. This level of puritanism where real people are treated differently than imaginary people, it's just bizarre. I do not accept it. Have you ever heard of Herbert Marcuse? Yes, this is repressive tolerance. They don't care about, they ban the word groomers, it's about politics. It is absolutely about politics, and this is what it annoys me when people think it's about protecting the children. It is absolutely not. They freak out, the same people that freak out over TV shows and Hollywood movies, they also freak out when conservatives are banning porn books from the classrooms. Like, give me a fucking break. Be careful, don't film high school students to prove a point. It's going to be very difficult to explain to parents, police. No, I'm not filming shit. But I wouldn't have to film. Like, I'm not talking about going inside the high school, okay? I can film on a street, me walking to the grocery store, and I can upload it on YouTube, and you guys can see what I see on the street. Like it's not shameful. I mean, again, like, to me in Romania, it's normal. Maybe in other places it's not. I don't know. Like, maybe America has dress codes. I genuinely do not know. But what I'm saying is that what I see on the street is one thing, and if you go clubbing, you see even worse. Like, if you go to certain clubs, holy shit. In my town. I haven't been to them in years, but like, I used to go there when I was a teenager. And I know what... But again, it's the fact that you get to see actual baristas at Starbucks that look more beautiful than any Hollywood actress that have been casted in the last 5 years. And yeah, I would say that is intentional. Like if it just so happens that, okay, you have a good actress for a role and she just looks weird, that's fine. But again, just to show you what I'm talking about, right? Like so you guys can see what my issue is. Like, we're talking about this type of thing, right? People on Twitter literally believes that if you like this, you're a pedophile. Like, you guys do not spend a lot of time on Twitter. You probably do not go around the same circles that I do. But they would consider that this looks underage. And if you like this, you're a problem. Okay? Like, this is what we're talking about. Just so we're clear, we're not even talking about lolly. No. Or they would consider that if this girl was in a movie, right? And the actress is 21, but she would play the role of a 17-year-old girl. And there was nothing sexual in the movie. Like, she's not having sex or anything. She's just dressed like this. And she's doing Harley Quinn things. Like, she's murdering people. She's beating people with a club. They would consider that to be child porn. Because she's dressed skimpily clad. And... you know, like, I'm not saying that this should be in movies or anything like that, but what I am saying is that if this is your argument, you're mentally deficient. Like, there is nothing that... And at some point, someone, in this case myself, has to stand up against these people. And to say that, no, I'm sorry. But I do have two neurons to rub together, and I do believe that you're speaking insanity and belong in a mental asylum. Like, if you don't like these movies, that's fine. You don't have to watch them, right? But at the same time, everything looks like this now. Must everything look like this? Because this is what they say. Well, must every single female character look like this? No, but like, must everyone look like this? And who buys these things? That's my point. You know, like, I like these franchises. This helps the franchise thrive. This helps the franchise survive. It sells toys. It creates fan bases. It promotes the character. You have discussion on forums. You have people willing to buy the product because this is in. And I'm sorry if you don't agree, but this is the reality. Meanwhile, this shit, what does it do? Who wants to have a t-shirt with these characters on? Who wants to buy a toy with these characters? Who wants to look like these? Like, this would be an insult. If I tell my wife, I hope one day you look like these people, she would find it insulting. No one wants to cosplay them. I have seen so many Harley Quinn cosplays that are more beautiful than this design. But again, on Twitter, anything that is under what a woman at the age of 28 looks, they will consider it to be pornography. Someone needs to talk about these things. Someone needs to discuss these things because it's going to a place where It's bizarre that these individuals aren't being mocked. Why can't I gift membership? I don't know. I mean, the option is there. Can you guys gift membership? Oh, this is a nice way to see if. Well, I did get a super chat, so I suppose the system is working. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't consider it that. They lie. Because the thing that really annoys me is that they manage to control the gaming industry by accusing everyone under the sun of racism and sexism. And the moment that people actually bought that shit, because even if you weren't racist or sexist, they would still accuse you, right? And the only thing was put them in positions of power. And once they got into positions of power, they destroyed the gaming industry. I mean, you can see what's happening now. All the stories are bland, boring, safe. All the character designs are awful, with no personality. But they want to do the same with anime now. And they want to gatekeep people from pushing them out of the gaming industry. It is what it is, you know. But here's another thing, right? Like I'm willing to bet a lot of these people would quit. Like, unironically, they would quit if you were to force them to make characters like this again. Like, if you have a studio, like if Blizzard starts making female characters like this, the next day you'd have walkouts from within their staff. And those people that have walkouts, they deserve to get fired. They deserve to lose their jobs. And you will see that they quit automatically. It's so simple. It seems like it doesn't make any sense, but trust me, because I know people from the AAA industry. If one company was convinced that they are making money by doing this, and they would, because you look at gacha games, and all they have going is the sex, right? Maybe the gambling as well, because it's a gacha game, right? But overwhelmingly, they make millions of dollars just by sex appeal. And you have the prudes, you have the moral busybodies that are stupid enough to give away their job at a company like Blizzard or whatever, just so that they can prevent this from happening. There is so much spite, and I genuinely believe that, yes, it is probably due to the fact that there are ugly people that do not like to compete. I mean, they're so insecure. They are so insecure and afraid of competing with fictional characters. Like, in reality, this is not going to replace a real woman. Like, no matter how good the drawing, no matter how beautiful it is, it will not replace a human woman. And it's not even that, right? Because it's not like people who play video games nonstop, they are surrounded by a tsunami of pussy, but they're like, no, actually, I don't want to go out because you don't look like Harley Quinn from Batman 2015. Like, that just doesn't happen. Like, most people who are addicted to video games, they are shut-ins. The reason they are addicted to video games is because most people shun them away, and they just aren't extroverted enough in order to deal with society. Or they're insecure, or maybe they have some level of autism, so they sit at home and they play video games. So what if it's an attractive woman? Like, do you think that prevents them from getting a girlfriend? It's the vindictiveness of it. One for the tip jar. Thank you, my advice finest. I appreciate it. Are you sure about that? I am 100% sure about this. Yes, like if you had to actually make beautiful female characters again, these people would walk out. They would. Like, they are this stupid. Like, they would give away their job where they're making a killing without doing much. I mean, if you're a diversity officer at one of these big companies, you don't even get to do much. You sit around all day and write a couple of emails. Best job in the world. And you get paid thousands of dollars. You don't even work overtime. It's amazing. And you benefit from all the perks that the corporations offer. I mean, you guys remember that ad from Twitter, you know, where they have like a wine dispenser, and they get food that looks like it's a 3-star Michelin restaurant, and they get like all these perks and activities to do that. They would give away all that. They would give it away. If you would push sexy female characters, they would. I know this from people who worked in the comic book industry. There was a time where DC Comics went woke, right? And they started replacing their superheroes. Like, let me show you what they did. So you got Power Girl, new verse. Whole approach where they were promoting diversity and inclusivity, and they were releasing they were replacing some of their established heroes with new ones. So let me give you an example. And it was the same thing. It's like, oh, let's make it respectable. I'm struggling to find the actual design because I don't want to show you guys something that's... here we go. Yes. Right, so this is a very, very popular... This one sells like pancakes. The moment an action figure of her is out, it disappears almost instantly, right? Like, she's Power Girl. Everyone knows her, right? She's a Kryptonian. It's an amazing character. So they decided to diversify Power Girl. All of a sudden, it's not selling, right? All of a sudden, no one is interested. Comics don't sell anymore. Gee, I wonder why. This was in 2015. And they did this for a lot of superheroes. They just race swap superheroes. What Marvel was doing. And they were focusing on politics and shit. So the numbers were going down. And of course, this is due to the fact that they decided to hire a lot of intersectionality types within the company. Like, they were hiring a lot of diversity commissars and a lot of people that were telling them how to draw, and they were oppressing the artists. So you got like a team of people within DC Comics which are issuing Project Rebirth. And Project Rebirth literally undiversifies everything. Like they're going back to the roots. They're going back to the original superheroes. They're going back to drawing lewd. Like, they're doing what works, right? Again, the numbers rise. What ends up happening? All of these people that were the diversity commissars and the intersectionality types, the talentless hacks, they threatened to quit. And so many of them threatened to quit that they reverted the decisions. And DC went the same way that it's going now. And it has been hemorrhaging numbers and losing ever since. And meanwhile, they also fired their talent. Like, they fired people like Ethan Van Sciver. And I know that some individuals do not like Ethan Van Sciver for various reasons, which, you know, it's understandable. Like, fine, don't like him, whatever. But he makes one comic book by himself, sells $1 million worth of issues. It's like, come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. You know, like, you're fighting people that are literally carrying your company in exchange for people that are tanking it. That doesn't make any sense. Search and see how much money MiHoYo from Genshin Impact and Hunker Star Rail did. And this is despite the fact that they are censored by the CCP. Yeah, like, even China. Even China makes a lot of money. There was this artist that was drawing lewds from Genshin Impact, and apparently he got in trouble with the CCP. China doesn't allow you to draw straight pornography, right? So, like, anything that you draw, you can draw lewds, just don't draw porn, right? Like, no penetration, and anything else is fine. And there was this guy that got into trouble with the CCP, but I think he got into trouble not because he was drawing porn, but of course because of that as well. But that wasn't the main reason. It's that he was tax evading. So he was tax evading and he got into trouble. The ones that were never paid well threatened to quit. Yes. It is the absolute state. But my point is, and I'm going to end with this. If you manage to bring back lewdness into video games and into comic books, they will quit. They will quit. They are so ideologically driven that they cannot stand anything that diverts from their ideology. They will call it transphobic, they will call it misogynistic, they will freak out and they will quit. It's literally how I would handle business. If I was to work at any of these companies in Hollywood or anywhere, I would just do what the Orville did. The Orville casted sexy female characters. And they dressed them appropriately. There is a level of appropriateness where it's not too provocative, but at the same time, it's not like you're going to church. It's somewhere in between. Show a cleavage every now and then. It's fine. Show a cleavage, show some shoulders. Like, it's okay. Just don't overdo it. Don't go over the top. It's not an on-off switch. Because this is what Anna, the Star Wars girl, was saying when she was talking about Captain Marvel, which was apparently 17. Showing some cleavage as a 17-year-old girl is fine. Right? That doesn't mean that it's overly sexualized, overly new. Yeah, like if you put that in a strip costume, yeah, I get it. No, that is too much. But to dress like a low tank shirt, that's fine. What the fuck are you smoking? And again, the actress is 21, right? Like that's another thing. Preferably, you wouldn't even have characters that are 17. Why would I want to watch 17-year-olds getting beaten up? Right? You shouldn't even create that. But it is what it is. I mean, if you look at the top line of Marvel, the current one, it's like it's a fucking kindergarten. The fuck would I want to watch that? Like it's fine to have like some, I guess, like child superheroes, like Spy Kids shit, because you want to appeal to a younger demographic. Like usually, what you do is you want the main hero in your story to be 9 years older than the actual audience. So like if you're going to want to make a movie for children, you cast I don't know, like 16 or 18-year-olds, and you're going to make that movie appeal for kids. But Anna wasn't talking about that, right? Like Anna was talking about this. This is what we're talking about, chat. Like she was saying that this is the actress, and by the way, this is photoshopped. Like the actress was actually wearing the same thing, but it was a little bit more covered. Like it had this net, this fish net on the costume. But basically, this is the actress, and they cast her making her look like this. And Anna points out, it's like, yeah, they did her dirty. It's like the entire, it's like they were dressing Greta Thunberg. The entire cast, and it's like, well, yeah, but like the character is 18, is 17. It's like, so make her 18 then. Why would I want to watch 17-year-olds getting beaten up anyway? Oh yeah, but she's a Muslim. Is she though? I mean, she is, but like, is she like a conservative Muslim? Because I don't think so. If she was a conservative Muslim, first of all, she's doing magic, right? Like, that's haram. You're not supposed to cast magic spells. You're not supposed to show off. You're like the whole reason you're covering yourself up and you're putting the headscarf, the hijab, is to show humility in front of God, right? So like, no, she's not a conservative Muslim. So if that's the case, then dress her up in a way that's not too lewd. Like, you don't have to go overboard, right? You don't have to put her in a swimsuit. But at the same time, you don't have to make her like she's going to church. When this is the actress that you can work with. Like, come on. It's not fucking rocket science. Because again, this movie tanked. If they would have listened to me and Anna, they would have made a lot more money. And the thing is, like, even if you disagree, I don't think it's okay to go to Anna and bring up her sister that passed away in order to rattle her on Twitter. Which is what a lot of these individuals did. The people that are the decent members of society. No such thing as a conservative Muslim. Well, they are. They are. Look, when I was at med school, I had a lot of Muslim colleagues, and I was friends with a couple. And it's kind of funny because they would come in Romania and they would learn some of our habits and customs. None of them ate pork, though. Like, that was the only thing that they didn't. But they started drinking alcohol, which is haram, right? Like, it's clearly haram within Islamic teachings. So when the graduation ceremony came about, this is why it was hilarious, because they had two graduation ceremonies. They had one graduation ceremony with their parents, where everything was on the up and up, and they were all behaving in manners of halal. And then they had the graduation ceremonies among themselves, where we were invited as well, and everyone drank alcohol and booze, and wasn't any problem. They do that every few months. They hate her. The story is an excuse to bring it up. They did the same with Thunderfoot's dad. And they did the same with Total Biscuit. I mean, it's kind of like this. When you want to get a rise out of a person, you want to upset someone. There's a couple of things that are acceptable and a couple of things that are beyond the pale. Especially when you do it in public. Like, if you want to upset someone in public, don't bring up dead relatives and shit. It says a lot more about you than on the person you're trying to insult. They became apostates, fallen, not Muslims. Okay, whatever. They still probably... I mean, they still don't eat pork, right? They still go to the mosque. Now, if you want to say they're not Muslims, fine. No, I genuinely think, like, look, if you're a member of a religion, you can be a good member or a bad member, right? So, like, if you're a good Christian, you go to church, you don't sin, you live a pious life. But at the same time, you can also be a Christian, like you believe in God and Jesus and the teachings, but you're not strong enough, you're weak enough in order to do sin and to live a bad Christian life. So basically, you still believe in God, but you go to hell, pretty much, right? So I think, like, it's the same with these Muslims. It's like, there is the teaching of Islam and the way you're supposed to behave, but they weren't strong enough to resist temptation, so... theoretically speaking, at the judgment day, they're not going to make it into heaven. But they're still Muslims. Like, they still believe in Allah. They still believe that what they're doing is wrong. They still believe in these teachings. And you can't consider them to be atheists. You can't consider them to be Christians because they still believe. So, yeah, they are sinners, pretty much. Yeah, that is the correct way of putting it. They are sinners. But they're still Muslims. I wouldn't call them apostates. Because an apostate is someone that... would justify that drinking is actually okay, that Allah didn't understand, or that Muhammad was wrong, or that the interpretation is not okay, right? Like, that's an apostate. What they were doing is like, no, they were aware that what they're doing is wrong, but they couldn't stop themselves from doing it. So they're sinners. Yes, that is the correct way to put it. They're Muslim sinners. and there is indeed, like, such a thing as a liberal Muslim and a conservative Muslim. A conservative Muslim is a Muslim that maintains the faith, and they pray the exact number of times. They maintain the 7 pillars of Islam. They do their pilgrimage, right? A liberal Muslim picks and chooses whatever he likes from the religion. It's kind of like going into a cafeteria and you pick and choose. And it's not just specific to Islam. It's to all religions. Like, you have Christians like that. You have Christians that pick and choose whatever they like from the Bible. They believe divorces are okay, but they draw a line at adultery or, LGBT issues or whatever. Yeah, it is interesting. There is an entire metaphysical realm for those who don't believe hard enough in God, but have been washed of sin. It's called the purgatory. Well, that's a Catholic thing. I don't think... it's a thing in Islam. I don't eat any green plant, not for religious reasons. No, but like, they don't eat pork for religious reasons, right? It's bizarre. I mean, I don't know how to justify it, to be honest. It's kind of like, I know how to explain it, right? It's like doing tax evasion. Like, the government is real. You know that the government requires you to pay taxes, but you do tax evasion nonetheless. Right? It's kind of like that. Like, they believe that Allah is real. They believe that Muhammad is the prophet. However, they still commit sins because, I don't know, like maybe they think they don't get caught, or maybe they think that later on they can be redeemed. Take into account that a lot of terrorists, like, we're not talking about just average Muslims now, we're talking about like radical jihadis, they did commit sin because they believe martyrdom erases sins. So maybe like they're like that, maybe they commit sins now thinking that later on they will commit, because there's other ways of obtaining redemption, right? But like later on they may be doing things that are virtuous in nature to erase the sins that they have committed. I'm an apostate. I believe that taxation is theft. Well, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It matters if you pay your taxes. Because I do think, like, even as a Muslim, you can think that some things are exaggerated or whatever. But as long as you're following the teaching... yeah. Queers for Palestine. That is, again, like I genuinely like do not. Okay, I can explain the Queers for Palestine thing quite easily. It's not rocket science. Do you know how you get leftists that go around and they have that chant like "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free"? If you ask them which river, they don't know. Like I have seen people live streaming at these events, and they're asking them the simple question: which river, which sea? They do not know. Now, I'm pretty sure if you ask a Muslim at one of these rallies, he will know. But if you're asking the average foot soldier, the average liberal person or liberal woman, they don't know. We'll talk about the roast in a bit. So the thing is, they do not care about the truth. For them, it's a fun activity to go out, protest, meet some friends, pretend to be oppressed, and LARP as revolutionaries. That's why they're doing it. They do not care about the truth at all. All they care about is what's popular, what's trending, what's the bandwagon. So the Queers for Palestine thing, they don't know. Or if they do know, it doesn't matter. They don't care. It's kind of like Mother's Day. I know it's a communist thing. I know that Women's Day and all of that shit started as a communist initiative. The same as Workers' Day. But I don't fucking care. It's fun. You go out. You party. It's kind of like that. Hello, Orbo Junglist. It's like they press skipped on the mission brief. Yeah, that is such a good analogy. I love it. Used to be called posers. Used to be called Marionette Men. I mean, this is why they're called NPCs, right? Like they have their firmware update. They're told what to think, and they think that way. What about Father's Day? Oh my fucking god, what about it? Is it even celebrated though? I think that there's like the beer that Carlsberg or which one, like a beer made Men's Day. That one is actually capitalistic, unironic. No, but like if you go to Women's Day, like you don't have to believe me. Go on Wikipedia. Like even if Wikipedia is willing to admit that it's a communist holiday, then it is. I think it started in the Soviet Union. But yeah, it started from socialist initiatives, like the whole Women's Day thing. So in some parts, it's Mother's Day. I think in the United States, it's Mother's Day because they were under Cold War, so they kind of resisted it. But in Romania, it's Women's Day. And you have to celebrate every woman. Absolutely every woman. If you go to work, you have to bring flowers to your colleagues. If you're at school, you have to bring flowers to your female teachers. It's horrible. It's horrible because it's expensive as fuck. Like, you gotta bring flowers to your mom, you gotta bring flowers to your teacher, you gotta bring flowers to your colleagues, and you're spending all this cash for no fucking reason whatsoever. They don't like getting the flowers either. Like, well, imagine you're a teacher and you're getting like a truckloads of flowers. What the fuck are you going to do with them? They're going to wilt in a couple of days anyway. People don't know. Yes, it's not even simp day. It's like obligation day, right? Let me hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Like, it's such a big thing here in Romania. You can see how fake the smile is when you look in their eyes. Like, I'm looking at this lady's eyes, and it's like a cry for help. It's like, please get me out of here. Please. But yeah, you're supposed to give flowers to every single woman. Young, old, doesn't matter. You give her flowers. And you spend a lot of money. You can spend up to $100. It's a tragedy. The thing is, it's a tragedy for women as well, because they have husbands. And the husband goes to work and he has to buy flowers for all his colleagues. Yeah, the only people that win are the ones that are selling the flowers. Unironically, perfume would be better, but like if you buy perfume, then that's something that you buy to a girlfriend, right? Like you don't get a colleague of yours perfume, and it's more expensive, so yeah. But it's like a different gesture. Like on 8th of March, if you give flowers to a colleague or a female employee or whatever, it's considered normal. Like it's acceptable. It's not a romantic gesture. It's an obligation. But if you give her perfume, then it becomes weird. Well, yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, every single country has cultures and customs. Americans don't really have them because you're more individualistic in nature. So, but actually it is. No, even in America, like imagine you're the type of person that doesn't celebrate Christmas, right? So you have a Christian family and you refuse to have a Christmas tree. You refuse to even call anyone on Christmas. You don't want to go to any parties. You're like a Scrooge, right? Now there's nothing wrong with it. But people are going to look at you weird. Like they will eventually stop inviting you to parties. They will stop socializing with you. Like you're isolating yourself, right? So like theoretically, yes, you can definitely not go with flowers and you can not participate, right? You can be the guy that doesn't go out on Thanksgiving, or doesn't have a meal on Thanksgiving, or doesn't want to go and celebrate 4th of July. Like you can be the guy, but eventually you're going to be ostracized by the others. Is that a day to recognize dads like in the US? No. I think it's kind of like, you know, the Secret Santa bullshit that corporations have? Like the Secret Santa retardation? Yeah, you gotta partake into that, don't you? I mean, technically you can choose. Like okay, so you're at a corporate event. And they're having this Secret Santa. I mean, you can say that you don't want to participate, because let's be honest, you're not going to get the present that you like, and chances are the person that you're going to buy a present for isn't going to like it either. Especially when they have like the idea, it's like, okay, don't buy anything more than $20 or some dumb shit like that. Yeah. Don't forget about supers. Is there a day to recognize that? Hold on, I read this one. Let me see if I missed one from Zanothium. I read all the supers. I did read them. But yeah, so as I was saying, it's kind of like, you know, not wanting to participate. Now, in Japan, it's even worse. Like, holy fucking shit. Oh my god, like in Japan, apparently, if you're at a high school in Japan, they have like all these clubs that you have to attend. So like they have like baseball clubs and shit. Like you have to join a club and you have to participate. Otherwise, you're again like you're isolating yourself from everyone else. When you go to work, you have to partake into they call it like company celebrations. Right, where everyone from the company goes out and has a drink or whatever. You have to partake into that. Ugh. Ugh. Am I antisocial, chat? Am I antisocial? I think I'm antisocial. I just like going to places, do what I'm supposed to do, and then come back. Like if I go to my workplace, I want to go to my workplace. I want to work 8 hours, and then after the 8 hours are over, I want to come back home. I don't want to party with the people at work. They're not my family. I have my own friends outside of the workplace. I don't go to the workplace to make friends. I don't go to the workplace to socialize. I go to the workplace to fucking work. Is that unreasonable? Like, I just want to focus on work. And theoretically, I'm a good employee because of that. But unfortunately, most employers are like, no. You need to socialize. You need to be part of the corporate family. You need to act busy. You need to... You're married, you only have to be social with one person. But even before that. Sorry about this. Oh, Jesus. I'm the same, V. I want to take care of business and relax. Yeah, literally, like I relax at home. I don't relax with the people at work. I'm not friends with the people at work. I'm colleagues. It's a difference. And is it possible that me and a colleague can become friends? Sure, but like I prefer not to. I go to work. I go home to relax. Many people do not find this reasonable. Many people find this absurd. Okay, so let's talk about the roasting stuff. The reason I brought it up is that I genuinely believe that streamers like Mizzy and John Somali and all of these other individuals, I think that the reason they are being paid with super chats is simply due to the fact that there is a craving for assholes. Like people want edgy content. People want the asshole. They want the Beavis and Butthead. They want the South Park Cartman. They want what else? What did we grow up with? Jackass. They want to see that. And because they don't see it, whenever they find a streamer or someone that behaves in that manner, they are going to throw super chats because they want more. And to show just how sanitized the culture is. Like just how how should I even say, like anti-edginess the culture is. You get almost on a daily basis at this point on places like Reddit and Facebook where you have actual threads dedicated to roasting people. Like this is what the purpose of the thread is. Right? Like you go on Roast Me, you post a picture of yourself, and you ask for people to roast you. It's 100% voluntary. Like you're asking for people, make fun of me. Insult me. If you make a post there, right? So now you have people getting banned for roasting people on or Roast Me. How the fuck does that make any sense, chat? So you have this lady. She says, I'm 23 working a dead-end job for less than living wage. My only friends are old people and I smoke a disturbing amount of weed to escape. Self-loathing is lonely, come join the party, right? So she literally wants Roast Me. And you have a person roasting her. Saying, you came here fishing for compliments, didn't you? I mean, you know you're good looking, right? I mean, she's putting earrings, she's having makeup, right? Like, she is good looking, she knows it. I'm sure men are all trying to have sex with you and will be until you get a bit older and your looks fade. Your lips are a huge asset. And I'm sure you get complimented constantly on your lips and your eyes. You did everything in your power to show them off in this picture. So, you gave people nothing to work with and you know it. You carefully tailored this post to be as unroastable as possible, then make it seem like that's not what you were doing. You wrote the title saying you don't make money and smoking a lot of weed, acting like it was a huge self-deprecation, except this is Reddit and people love others who smoke weed, and admitting you smoke like a chimney would only endear you in the minds of most Redditors. And secondly, pretty girls don't need careers. Unlike men, it's purely optional for girls like you, since we both know you can get a man anytime you want. It would be trivial for you to get a reasonably attractive man who made over $100,000 a year to marry and have kids with you, at which point having no career becomes meaningless. You know, a lot of feminists, they really hate this fact, but I will put it the other way. It's impossible for a man to do this. Like, it's impossible for a man to get a hot smoking waifu that makes $100,000 a year and you get to stay at home and take care of the kids. And I guarantee to you, there is an army of men that would line up for that. You know, getting that big busty sakubasu, like getting the big titty sakubasu, and she's like, I will take care of you. All I need from you is to clean up the house, make food, take care of the kids, and we have sex. And other than that, I go to work, I make $100,000 a year. Do you know how many men would want that? How many men would covet that? How many men would desire that oppression? Right? But we don't have it because genders aren't equal. They're different. That doesn't mean different good, different bad. It just means like they're meant to complete each other. We're meant to complete each other, and once we completed each other, we can have happy families. But the thing is, right, like as a woman, you can choose to have a career, right? But the thing is, if you don't manage to have a well-paying career, as this person says, You can find a boyfriend that you like and love, and he happens to make more than $100,000 a year. You have a safety net. Like, you have a way to avoid being homeless. Men don't. As a man, if you do not make a certain amount of money that allows you to afford rent, you end up homeless. There's not going to be any ushikushi sakubasu that will take care of you. The true roast here is that you have no value as a person apart your looks, especially your lips, eyes, hair, and face in general. Your body is almost certainly nothing other than the fact that you are not fat. It's pretty common for girls like you to drift aimlessly through life with no real goals or ambitions because your life is already on easy mode. You mentioned that you're super poor, yet you smoke tons of weed. Weed is expensive. You're obviously not paying for it. You're getting it for free one way or another. You'll spend your 20s wasting the best years of your life in that dead-end job smoking weed all the time. You'll date lots of Chad guys who only want to have sex with you, but for a while, and you're going to get lots of fun memories. But ultimately, they will get bored of nutting you, and they will not offer you fulfilling relationships. In your late 20s or mid-30s, you'll panic and finally know fear of being alone or failing. So you'll do what many other pretty women do at that age. They realize they won't be young and pretty forever, and you'll settle. You'll find a guy that makes good money, who is good enough to stand being around, and you'll convince yourself that you love him and lie to yourself that you're not settling, even though that's exactly what you're doing. So you'll get married and maybe get pregnant in order to assuage your fears of being alone and aging. But once your fears are gone, you realize that settling sucks and you'll be bored. How to deal with that boredom will define your life. Do you just want to smoke weed until you're 50? Could work. Do you cheat? Lots of drama, might backfire or might get you an upgrade to a guy that looks better on paper and stimulates you more. Will suck for husband number one though, but what do you care? Do you throw yourself into spending your husband's money on things like luxuries and travel? That is the safest choice and the most popular one. Right, so this guy is roasting her. Like literally, it's a thread for roasting people. She wants to be roasted. This is the top roast. It's got 285 points. Everyone is liking it. Everyone is thumb voting. It's got 34.7 thousand likes. Is it how it works? No, wait. Her own post got there, right? And he's got banned for it. He's getting banned from a thread that's about roasting people. This person is asking to get roasted. She's getting roasted. Getting banned. How the fuck does this work? What is wrong with our culture, chat? What is fucking wrong with our culture? Can anyone tell me? I'm willing to bet she's not the one that banned him either. She's probably laughing at his response. Just Reddit things. Yeah. It is upsetting that edginess isn't allowed even when voluntary. You know, like recently there's a scandal. I'm going to make a video covering it tomorrow. There's a scandal. I think it's EA Games. Yeah, they banned the person for saying shut the fuck up. So he told someone else shut the fuck up. The mods banned his account. He now can't play any multiplayer games on his account. That is the level where we're at. Men have to be toxic, okay? It's like when feminists say men should cry more. No, men should be toxic more, okay? But we want to be toxic in a safe environment, in a place where people don't get hurt. Video games used to be that place. You would go in a video game, you spread some toxicity, you get some toxicity back. Now, I understand that's not for everyone. I get it. You know, there are some young people or women or whatever, they don't like toxicity. Have mutual servers. Have servers for toxic people. I ask for, like, are you sure you want to join the toxic server? Did anyone call her Flat V? I must know. No, they didn't. Piracy is justified. I want to see how you're going to do it when everything is a live service, smartass. I want to see how you do it when you need to log on in order to play your single player fucking game. It's going to be like Google Stadia. You don't even get to download the game on your hardware. Like, you just play it off their cloud. Man, these people never been on CS 1.6. Oh, they literally complained about Valve. I think it was like a Kotaku article or a Polygon that came out recently, and they were like, oh my god, the toxicity in this game. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, yet this game, this game is one of the most popular games in the fucking world. Right? So you shouldn't criticize it. You should criticize other games for not being like CS 1.6. It's not even video games. It's just like how men interact. Like when I was a kid, you know, every single I grew up here, Chad. Let me show you where I grew up. This is the concrete jungle of communism. And this is my childhood. This is where I grew up. By the way, kids would play on top of the blocks as well. It was very fun, much to the dismay and horror of the adults. But as you can see, you know, like maybe you had some parks, but usually this was the playground. And you were playing, you know, and someone would yell car. But we were playing football a lot. And you didn't get like an actual stadium of football. You would put like 2 bricks, 1 brick here, 1 brick here. And that was the goalie, right? And people were like, there was one goalkeeper and everyone else was trying to score. That's how we played. And there was a lot of toxicity, a lot of trash talk, a lot of banter. The same shit that you see in video games was being done here. Oh my god, the level of bullying. Holy shit. But there were no terms of service. There was, you know, like if things went overboard. Like if someone actually got hurt, yeah, they would call the parents, you know, they would call the mother. But the mother was sensible. Like, if someone called him 4 eyes because he had glasses, the mother wouldn't come down from here. Like, the mother is in fucking heaven. Isn't the heaven looming like the overlord? She's not going to go all the way down here because someone called her child 4 eyes. But if someone was, like, physical and, you know, even actually physical, like if you were rough playing, well, it was quite fun, you know, like, oh, you came home, you had a few bruises. And they would say, well, why did you play like that? And the father would be like, oh, boys will be boys. Which is something that, again, like leftists do not understand. They think like boys will be boys is something that the father would use when 10 boys would go and they would try to harass a girl. It's like, no, boys will be boys is when they're fighting with sticks and they're coming home filled with mud. That's what boys will be boys mean. Oh, he's got a couple of bruises. Why? Well, he was chasing the other kid and he tripped. Or he was play fighting with the other kid and he got rolled in mud. Okay, well, boys will be boys. Fuck it. You know, that's where the expression came from. But like, if someone got beaten up, you know, like, you threw a rock at someone, or there was blood, or then the parents would get involved. And then there were consequences. And you know what? Things were great. Things were fucking great. There was no trauma, no everlasting damage. Like I know all my friends that I grew up with. No one is in the psych ward. No one is worse off for it. There's good memories, there's bad. But it's how we grew up. And to see like the level of pussification, as they said in Cobra King. Where like everything needs to be safe, everything needs to be sanitized, watch your language, watch your mouth, be careful what you type. Yeah, it's being called a kid, not anymore though. This is where Hassan wants to live instead of his mansion. I generally do not understand why you'd want to live in a mansion. Like, it's something that boggles my brain. Like, there is such a thing as too much of a house. Unless you have a large family, like unless you have like 4 kids, there's no fucking reason why you'd want to live in a mansion. We still don't know when we're going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons. We were supposed to be playing yesterday, but like something came up. This is what happens when you have too many players. Like I told Sargon, I can play whatever, but usually there's someone else that, well, I can't do Thursday. Well, I can't do Tuesday. Well, I can't do, okay. We were supposed to do Monday, but something came up. So now theoretically it's Friday, but I see Dev trying Saturday, so. Anyway, right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the super chats. I'm gonna take my leave now. And hopefully I will